Hi guys, today I'm gonna do a presentation about turn-taking patterns and question types. And before we start with the presentation, let me just talk about EDX. So EDX is a massive open online course MOOC website that partners with companies and universities to provide classes, degrees, and professional certificates. And it was founded by Harvard University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology in 2012. So today's topics are we have seven, six different topics. Today we'll talk about traditional turn taking, which is teacher-centered teaching. And then we have IRE and types of questions in IRE, improving IRE with feedback, cultural variations in turn taking, procedural display, and non-traditional ways, and classroom innovations. I misspelled the classroom. And now we have some key takeaways. So, what is traditional turn taking? Traditional turn taking basically means free teacher-centered teaching, and we've been seeing this since the first grade, I guess, since the first grade to high school. We know that the teacher can be the center of this class, and it is the one who gives information to the class. And is it a bad thing? No, but there are some negative outcomes as well as the positive outcomes. And a key feature of teacher-centered classrooms is the IRE sequence, which is initiation, response, and evaluation. So initiation, teacher would ask a question like, "What time is it?" And then students would respond like 1:30, and the evaluation will be teacher says, "Very good." So evaluation can be the opinion of the teacher. And then we have IRE. We talk about IRE, and so IRE can help teachers to learn about what they are teaching or how classroom interaction supports learning or why certain patterns persist. But we know IRE can be useful for the teachers, but there are some negative ways as well. It can, I think it can, I don't know how to explain it, but I think with imagination, and we know if the teacher is centered of the classroom, the student's imagination can decrease, and this is not a great way of teaching. Like it's not enough for me, at least. And also we have the types of questions in IRE. So the first question is like known answer questions, which is like there are one correct answer, and this is very typical in IRE. For example, asking like what is the capital of the United States? We already know that the capital of United States is Washington, D.C. And if we say like New York, this will be a wrong answer. And a teacher would not say that, okay, you tried it, but this is the correct. Like it's not something we can choose. This is literally the capital of the country. And we have also open-ended questions, which are more greater way to help students with critical thinking because there is no predetermined answers and they are more conversational. For example, if I ask a question as a teacher like, what do you like about United States or what do you like about American culture? There isn't any correct answer. Every student will say different answers, will give different answers, will say different sentences. For example, one will say, okay, I like this one, I like that one, but one can say, I don't like the culture, I don't like this, blah, blah, blah. And there aren't any correct answers. So there are two types of questions in IRE. And after talking about IRE, actually there are ways to improve IRE, which is improving IRE with feedback. So Gordon Wells, I guess how it is how pronounced his name, suggested IRF, which is initiation, response, and feedback. So he changed evaluation to feedback. And for example, there's an example as you can tell. With evaluation, a teacher can say, "Okay, your pictures are great," which is his or her opinion, but it can be formulated to, Okay, your pictures help me to enjoy your story. And how did you think to include the little anchor, maybe? So it helps critical thinking and imagination. And I think it's a better way to teach for the students and way more fun than evaluation. I mean, evaluation is of course important, but I feel like without giving any feedback, we cannot continue this teaching as well as like useful that we think. And there are some benefits. It can sustain participation and it can incorporate students' ideas into discussions, maybe, and it can model real conversational turn taking. So IRF is, I think, better than IRE, but we don't need to compare it, of course, but it's just my opinion. Then we have cultural variations in turn taking. As we know, IRE sequences assume familiarity with school-based norms, but students from different cultural backgrounds may need more wait time to answer or interpret questions or praise differently. So that's why, as a teacher, as we're gonna be a teacher, we need to consider our classroom very, very well. Like, we need to check their background, like not like a detective maybe, but we need to know how they become who they are. Like, okay, what are their backgrounds? Are they all from the same country or are they in different um, learners, or is English their native language, or is it second language, or are there any different native languages that they speak that we didn't know? And what are some differences between cultures? For example, like, okay, we have Turkish students and also Russian students. So are there any differences? Of course, there are differences, and we need to consider that. Okay, I'm gonna talk like that. I'm gonna reach out to my students like that, but if I do that, is would be wrong in Russian culture, or would it be wrong in Turkish culture? So, as a teachers, we should consider all of that. And then we have procedural display. Procedural display means performing classroom participation without real learning, and it was coined by Charlie Bryce Heath and elaborated by David Bloom, I guess. And IRE sequences can support procedural display, but it can affect negatively as well. Students respond correctly by cues or pattern recognition and not understanding, or teachers may simulate discussions for appearances. And then we have the non-traditional ways and some innovations in classrooms. So there are a lot of benefits of that, and I support non-traditional ways of teaching actually. Like, okay, teacher-centered teaching is great to a certain level, but I think our students should be active in the classroom as well. So it can help students to ask more authentic and unpredictable questions, and it can increase some more wait time for reflection, and it can help with incorporation of students' experiences and knowledge. So I think we need to know the traditional ways of teaching as well as the non-traditional ways of teaching in a classroom. And we have some key takeaways from this presentation. So classroom interaction is culturally shaped, as we know, and predictable patterns help some but exclude others. So we just can't say we need to work with our predictions all the time, or we have some predictable patterns and we need to stick with them. No, that's wrong because it can help some, but it can also exclude some other students, other teachers. And also, IRE sequences can be useful for evaluation, can be transformed into IRF, which is initiation, r- response, and feedback, rather than evaluation to promote learning, and can be misused in procedural display, masking lack of understanding. And I think that's all I'm going to talk about in my presentation. Thank you.